Should the Fremantle Dockers ditch the chevrons and bring back the anchor full time? As a long-time Freo fan, I think they should. Don't get me wrong, I love the chevrons and have been proud to have had that as our jumper for the last 12 years or so. But I do think it's sort of had its time. The anchor has obviously been a huge part of Freo history, whether it's the OG fat anchor of the 90s or the more modern, more refined anchor of the 2000s. But this design and the colours that went with it did make Freo the butt of many jokes, which their lack of on-field success didn't help. When the club rebranded with a new logo and new jumpers in 2011, it was really the first steps in Fremantle starting to earn some respect and being taken a bit more seriously in the AFL. This rebrand, combined with the big coup of luring Ross Lyon to the club as the new head coach and the first grand final appearance in 2013, did kind of legitimise the Freo Dockers, at least more so than they were perceived prior to all of this. But in a way, it's sort of like the club traded in its unique personality and soul to be accepted by others, much like the unpopular kid at school caving to peer pressure to get the approval of the so-called cool kids. The entire narrative and identity of the Fremantle Dockers has really been a team for the battlers, a team for the people who have to fight for every little thing they get. And the anchor Guernsey kind of represented that. Where outsiders saw an ugly jumper with too many colours that didn't go together, Freo fans saw our own uniqueness. It's the idea that you didn't need to try to be like anyone else to fit in, that our club didn't need to wear the same old stripes, hoops or sash that almost every other team wears. That identity has fueled part of the Derby rivalry, with the Eagles being the good-looking, popular, rich and successful team across the road who bullied the little guy for the first 8 or 9 derbies. When Port Adelaide talks about what wearing the prison bar jumper in a showdown means to the history of their club and their rivalry with the Crows, I feel a case could be made for a similar sort of historical significance with Freo's anchor Guernsey in derbies. It was those anchor Guernseys we were wearing for all those years when the Eagles beat us up early, and it was an anchor Guernsey and those colours we were wearing when we had some of our best derby triumphs. That anchor and those colours of purple, green, red and white might be ugly to some, but they're uniquely Fremantle, and they represent everything this club has struggled through over its history, and therefore should be worn with pride when they finally lift that cup for the first time someday. Now I know it's probably unrealistic to expect Freo to go back to their OG home jumper, but I do think there's an obvious middle ground between the old and the new. Freo should have at least 3 Guernseys, with their home being the anchor jumper in just purple and white. This used to be their purple haze jumper, and I remember it being a pretty popular design. For their clash jumper, you go back to the white jumper with the purple anchor, and I think it makes sense to bring back the OG anchor with the green and red for derbies, as it's got that history behind the matchup. So should Fremantle bring back the anchor full time? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below, whether you're a Freo supporter or not, and until next time, we'll see you guys later.